Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm Mikk, and this is Angelina.
Or Angie.
And we are from Pipedrive. Today we are going to talk about our lives in Pipedrive. So we have titled this presentation, The Challenges of an Engineer in a Global Company, because Pipedrive is a global company.
Yes.
But nevertheless, we have some slides prepared that will help us, hopefully, throughout these 1.5 hours. Sorry. But oh, thanks.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna slides that help you to understand what our background, Pipedrive background, and understand better our struggles as engineers.
Yes. Oh, I can speak now.
Yeah.
So we have around 1.5 hours, but we actually hope that we will only cover around maybe 1 hour of it. And also the slides are there just for us to speak about something that we expect you might be wanting us to speak about. What I mean by that is that I hope that you will be asking lots of questions from us all the time that we speak, so we can start answering them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, we definitely want you to ask even more questions. So, but let's first introduce ourselves.
Yes.
So I'm Mikk, and I'm titled as an engineering manager in Pipedrive. But actually, I consider myself an engineer, which means also means that actually I have been working as an engineer my whole life. And not long ago, I switched to engineering manager position. What about you?
So I'm front-end engineer, and I'm from Tartu. We have office in Tartu, and I work in Pipedrive for a year now, and I work in Riga Stripe, and we do marketing stuff. We're gonna touch it a bit later, Stripe stuff and so on. But it's yeah, really fun, and we work a lot with Riga's office in Riga.
Okie dokie. So our agenda today, as I said, the agenda is that you ask questions, we answer questions. But we will talk you about some of the background, so that because if we just threw out what are the struggles at Pipedrive for an engineer, it maybe wouldn't be that easy to understand. But if we first talk about some generics about Pipedrive, the culture,
Yes.
some of the processes that we have in place, and so forth, then tech stack as well, yes. Then we will. It will be easier to understand. You want to add something?
Yes, and we also will mention a career path in Pipedrive if you got interested in Pipedrive. And of course, if you have any questions, please ask. Don't need to wait till Mikk will stop talking.
Okay, but I will stop talking right now. So, is there anything that you know about Pipedrive? Because in Estonia, it's a rather, what's the word? Famous. Or company.
Yeah,
I would
pretty much.
at least I'm working here for a while, so I consider it famous. I have heard of it for a while already because I'm working here, right?
At least when I say where I work, they're I know your office.
Yeah. So what are the facts you know about Pipedrive in general?
The big tower.
The big tower.
As mentioned.
We have a big tower near Telia, next to Telia building. That's correct.
Also in Tartu.
Yeah, we have actually more locations, but yeah, in Estonia actually is one of like the headquarters, we can say, and the biggest office of Pipedrive.
Yes, in Tallinn.
What else?
Do you know what we do?
Software developing.
Yes, but so we do software developing, but what kind of software do we develop? Well, it's a good. I'm not even sure if it's guest or you know about it, but it's a good. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, then you working with field of sales.
Yes.
Pipes are somewhere.
Yes. So it was suggested that we working on sales, and that's very precisely correct. It's usually considered a CRM, customer relations manager, management. So which means that a tool which helps you just organize your sales. And pipe, in the name of Pipedrive, also represents the pipeline of sales, basically.
Yeah.
What else? How big is? Yeah, it's a unicorn. I don't even recall what is the number which number unicorn we are. Like in Estonia, we have like 7 unicorns or something. So
Yes.
Pipedrive is 6th or 7th or something like that. It happened around 1.5 years ago
Something like that.
when we were sold, which officially made us unicorn because it was sold for more than 1 billion. Good. You know a lot. I guess we can now just take the questions. No, let's see what we have on the slide. Yeah, it's a software as a service company, which means that what I want to explain over that is that we build some sort of software, but it's really important for us that in Pipedrive, the software that we build, we don't actually tailor it for the customers, in that sense that no specific customers, even the high value or big customers in Pipedrive, they don't get that much extra attention, like each customer separately at least. Whatever we build, we actually build it as a self-service thing anybody can sign up and start using. And of course it's online, mostly a web page. Of course there is an app as well, mobile app.
Yes, and it's our own product, and we expanded a lot because we started as only this pipeline, and later we added a lot of integration like emails, I don't know, marketing or so on. But now we're working more to create our own products and not integrate that much from third parties.
Mm-hmm. So we are extending basically.
Yeah.
It used to be basically a sales tool only, but now we are extending it a lot. So actually offering more than just the pipeline.
Yes,
And it will continue, of course.
of course.
Next point is that we have close to 1,000 employees. I can't say 1,000 right now
Not
because it's really
yet. Soon.
but pretty soon, hopefully it will happen, which sets the stage for this as well. Because if you consider working in a company which like consists of 1,000 employees, then that already tells you something. It's not that, just a few people doing something.
Yes.
And also we are actually talking here, I didn't even mention it at first, well the title said it, but basically we are talking about the engineering department of Pipedrive mostly.
Yes.
So mostly interested we are of those engineers, of which in Pipedrive we actually have more than 350
Yes.
people. You want to add anything there?
No.
I said it all.
Well, maybe the next point is 10 offices in 8 countries, but main engineers, like almost all engineers are in Estonia.
Not all of them.
Not
no.
all of them, but almost all. No?
Maybe, yeah, most of the engineers, maybe, yes. So, but the offices where we do have engineers are in Tallinn,
Yeah.
Tartu, Riga.
Uh,
Still we have a few engineers in Riga, yes. Juris is there.
Yes.
So, and we have Prague and Lisbon. Those are the offices where we do have plenty of engineers.
Okay.
And then we have a few more offices around the world.
Also in US?
Hmm. In London, one
Yes.
in Dublin,
Yes, and Berlin,
yes, Berlin as well.
and US, Florida, and New York.
Yes, but those other offices are mostly just marketing, sales related, and maybe also some customer support
Yes.
in US, for instance.
Okay, do you have any question here?
I have one. Lizzie asked about or actually told you that you have unicorns, but is it like part of your visual identity, or is it just that you're part of the 7 unicorns that are
Yeah,
founded?
it's a good question. So the question is that we are like showing off unicorns
Yeah.
everywhere. Is it part of our visual representation? I think it kind of is, and it happened the moment we became a unicorn. So that's the moment I got this T-shirt, basically. Although, to be honest, the one that I got then looks pretty ugly, so I got a new one yesterday. Yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so you already opened the next bullet. So we also have customers. Customers, we actually count them usually by companies,
Yes.
because mostly the business we are doing is B2B, meaning business to business. So Pipedrive is actually selling their product to not personal users directly, but to the businesses. So we are counting companies, and we have over 100,000 companies. That doesn't sound maybe that much, but sometimes when I do some engineering work and need to, for instance, migrate some databases or something, partially manually, then you get the glimpse that 100,000 actually is a lot.
Yeah. And as you mentioned already, unicorn.
Okay, let's talk about our culture. You know
Yes.
the best about it.
Panna on vaja.
What do we mean by that? So that's a slogan Pipedrive is using for some reason. And
Yes, well, I thought you maybe tell the story first.
I don't know the story exactly, but basically, well, panna on vaja, it comes from just somebody. Well, there is some story behind it, but I guess the story doesn't matter that much.
Okay.
The general idea is
Yes.
that sometimes,
if there's too much struggle, it is getting too hard. Just panna on vaja, and you get through it.
basically, yes, Pipedrive, I think, is a good sample of a startup where at some point everything got so complicated and it was also in bankruptcy. But nevertheless, we just kept on going, and that's exactly the attitude you need to have, even though you might be almost failing. If you just continue pushing, you might succeed.
Yeah.
So that's basically what panna on vaja means to me.
Yes, and also for me, panna on vaja, it's our deployment system. We deploy all the time, and not like some companies release like once in a month. Like we release all the time. You do something in life.
Well, definitely, whenever in Pipedrive there is a challenge that we need to do something that is really complicated, and then somebody just presents it and says, yeah, it's complicated, but we need to do it, then, well, it always has to end like with panna on vaja, and everybody understands, okay, it's complicated, but it has to be done.
Yeah. And games, of course.
I actually want to extend this panna on
Yeah.
vaja a little. We have some company values which we haven't brought out on the slides.
Nope.
But one of those, like the company values, when we hire people, we actually really want people to, fit to those values.
Yeah, yeah.
And the first value we have is actually internal drive, which kind of means that when we hire people, we expect them to want to do their job. And that's really important, because when you're hired in Pipedrive, nobody will be there to tell you that you need to do this, don't slack off, just you need to do your work or something like that. You need to have this internal drive, otherwise you would be just slacking off and not be useful for the company.
Yes.
Okay, go on. Games.
I mean, nobody wants you to burn out in the Pipedrive, so it's really...
you don't want yourself to burn out, but how do you know that others don't want you to burn out?
I know. They care about me. They, for example, don't allow me to work at night.
Oh, they don't allow you to work at night.
No.
That's actually a funny thing. Like around 5 years ago, I wasn't in Pipedrive back then. I've been in Pipedrive, I didn't say it before, 3.5 years or so. And I visited a company in Finland. And there I also spoke with those employees. And they told me exactly that if somebody works at evenings or on weekends, it's looked as something really strange and you shouldn't do it. Back then I thought, wow, that's really strange, because in Estonia, if you work on weekends, you get more done, and you're like, yeah, you're the guy.
Yes.
But now I literally see this mindset has come to Estonia as well, especially in Pipedrive, so we don't want anybody to burn out and work on weekends.
Yeah, but just for me, I'm a night person, and when I'm in the office, I prefer to, talk with people, socialize. I mean, with Corona, we were like so long in the home offices and didn't see people. So now I'm more socializing thing, play games, play table tennis. I love table tennis. We have tournaments, and some guys play Civilization, for example. So in the office, I do anything else. I don't know, maybe meetings, but mostly socialize, and then I go home and then I actually start working because I'm a night person. I don't.
Cool. And how does it relate to games?
I mentioned Civilization.
Okay. I find it funny that when we prepared, we take our shares here and everything, and then when we started, we just set up and we don't use the shares anymore.
No. Stand up.
Yeah. So Slack.
You wanted to talk about Slack.
I just wanted it to be there because I think Slack, it's just a tool. You have heard of it, I guess. What I'm saying is that most of the communications of those 1,000, just 1,000, 1,000 employees, it happens in Slack. So basically, if Slack is down, the company, well, we have some fallbacks, of course, but basically it's kind of halted in some sense, the communication within company. So all of the communications is happening inside Slack, which also brings us to the next point, I guess.
Yeah, I also want to mention if you go to Pipedrive, you will discover many interesting channels you didn't know exist.
Yeah, of course.
Really
like
strange, maybe, but
not all of the channels are work-related.
no.
And I mean, it's just a random thing I put up here. But basically, we also have lots of custom emojis in Slack, and we use them pretty extensively.
Yeah.
Right now, you put a screenshot of where we add them, but I think it would be nice to show a message that is kind of influential. Then you can see like the pile of, emojis it has.
I was worried not going to be safe for work.
There is a question.
Yeah, there is a question from the chat, from the live itself. I think it's like concerning the Bannan Vaja slogan. And the question is, how often is the sentence actually used?
So there is a question, how often is the Bannan Vaja slogan actually used? As I said, when somebody, presents something challenging, then quite often they actually end their presentation with Bannan Vaja. Often it happens, also in Slack or online. So to answer the question, how often is it actually used? I guess once a month at least by, somebody where it makes sense, to use it.
Yeah. And
So
in our Riga Stripe, we use it all the time. But
but maybe you only work once a month. That would make it okay.
Okay.
I was starting to be funny. Dogs, you put it there.
Yes, because
We don't have any cats.
we don't have any cats.
No, we do actually.
We
We
do?
do have Slack channels for dogs and Slack channels for cats, and we also have Slack channels for other pets. It's called exotic pets, but it's mostly for rabbits actually. Nevertheless, talk about dogs.
Every office is always welcome to your dog, and there are a lot of them, and it's, I don't know, they're cute, they have food,
So it's
they
just
jump on you.
we are just pets friendly.
Yeah, we are really pet
I think
friendly.
it's fine if you take your rabbit to the office as well.
Yeah,
But nobody does it for some reason.
and luckily no one has an allergy or something.
Yeah. So we have lots of dogs going around in the office. Some of them have names. I mean, possibly every dog has a name, but some of them has names that even I know, and many people in the office know. I mean, sometimes you see a dog and you don't know their name. But most of the dogs that I see in the office, I know their names.
I usually, when I walk outside, I have my headphones in my bubble, but when I see the dog, I'm like, my colleague, hey, because I recognize him by dog. Okay.
Yeah, move on.
Kringel.
Oh, I already started to think, is there anything else in our culture? But yeah, Kringel definitely is one of those things. So, in short, whenever there is an occasion, it's like you have a promotion or you have an anniversary or a birthday.
Or you got married or you got kids.
Or you
Whatever.
got your first deploy or you created your first incident or anything.
No, the first deploy is Jack. It's Jack time, in Tartu at least. We drink Jack Daniels. But
But mostly it's Kringel then, that you have to bring Kringel.
Yeah.
Well, actually I have seen people who haven't done it like properly, but usually people do it. So whenever you actually have birthday, you bring Kringel to the co-workers.
Yeah, and Tartu, sorry, I'm gonna finish my, Tartu is really strict. We have cake channel and people actually look, it's your birthday, where's the cake, where's the Kringel?
In Tallinn we have like different alerting channels in Slack, like if you have some, engineering alert coming in, but one of the alerting channel is called kitchen alert. Go on.
Do you have like a specific flavor of Kringel that gets brought to the office?
Yeah, so the question is there some specific flavor which is more common than the others? I think it comes and goes, like as the trend is. Right now I can tell, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to make this advertisement here, but mostly people bring Becker Kringels recently, in Tallinn at least.
In Tallinn, okay.
Do you have Becker in Tartu?
No.
Do you even have gringos in Tartu?
Of course.
What kind of gringos then?
I don't know. I can't remember any, but we have a
You
lot of
say it
places.
as if you weren't a gringos person.
I'm not. I don't want to say it. I'm gonna be fired if I say so.
But actually, sometimes gringo is substituted by something else as well. So it's fine if you bring chocolate.
Yeah.
We will accept it.
And actually, a lot of people complaining that they gained a lot of weight when they come into Pipedrive.
How come?
And team events. I already mentioned it a bit, but we also have. Okay, before Corona we had a lot. I didn't work yet in Pipedrive, so I don't know anything about that. After that, it was mostly in the web. For example, boot camp. It's now web camp. I mean, those guys enjoying themselves. I had to sit down and look into Zoom, but I mean, there are a lot of fun things coming.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we have small team events. I know we play tennis. I am a tennis player, so I, teach tennis to my colleagues who are amateurs. I really enjoy that. And yeah, if you have any idea to do some event, there will always be people who will join you.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I like team events. I mean, I used to be an engineer, and then I thought that team events are just, a way to have fun. But right now, I, as an engineering manager, I actually realize that they're important. That if you don't have team events, your team will just fall apart. So you need to have team events.
Yeah.
At least this is how I see it.
Yeah.
Let's move
Okay. Move on. Processes and tools. Now it's more boring stuff.
on. Mission framework. So Pipedrive, especially the engineering part of Pipedrive, is working in a specific manner to Pipedrive, which we call mission framework, because basically there are projects that we run, and when we run them, we call them missions because it's more fun.
Yeah.
And there is actually some details about this framework which makes it unique and makes it also useful. But we have a separate slide for that, so let's not stop here right now. Also, we have 120 deployments a day.
Yes.
What?
In Racket.
Yes, you want to tell about that?
I mean, I think I'm gonna want to tell more when we go to the.
But still,
site.
let's quickly see what we are talking about more in detail. So we are continuously actually deploying Pipedrive. This is important for us because, this is the way to continuously upgrade your software. So if you're a user of Pipedrive, then actually you get like 100, on average, 120 updates every day, basically. And we have some tooling around it to make it even possible.
Yeah.
That's not really processes, I'm not sure, but 50, 60 people are online and in the office. Before COVID, of course, almost everybody was in the office. And sometimes we have cross-location teams also, or teams are located in all over the place.
Yeah.
So no, it's not my favorite. It's there, and we have to explain it, So we have a mission framework ongoing in Pipedrive. For engineers, there are basically two important parts, I would say. One of which is that there is a launchpad, and when there is then some project happening, we call it a mission. And then, so basically, we have a set of people, somehow organized, grouped together, which we call a tribe. And the set of people usually consists of engineers only, but there is also PMs and designers, not strictly, but tightly related to each tribe, let's put it this way. And the tribe itself for engineers consists of basically Launchpad and missions. And Launchpad is where we work, in a regular way, so that we have a Jira board. When there are bugs coming in, we fix those bugs, we solve all the issues that are coming. But when we actually need to do some bigger project, some bigger development, then we start it as a mission. So almost always when there is something bigger to do, we run it as a mission. And what it means is that just some people from the Launchpad get extracted into a separate team, and they work on that specific task. And more often than not, actually, the missions are not just within one tribe. They actually include people from other tribes as well. So
sometimes, yeah.
It depends where you are. I would say even more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, we're more So I need to be developing new product.
So,
mostly only or Riga stripes.
but what it means, for instance, for an engineer is that, how long are those missions? I guess is a good question actually. And I would say on average they are 1 month to 3 months. So what it means is that usually you work a few months on something and then you switch to your launchpad, maybe work a month or 2 there on something and then go another mission for a few months. And basically, if you think now how your team that you're working with is changing, then it's basically changing every other month or so on average. And then of course there is other parts of the organizations which are also on this slide, and there are guilds. Let's not talk about guilds. It's getting too complicated. But you also said that you don't like this picture. Maybe you want to draw a better one.
Because it's too much, but I don't know, you already mentioned the main parts. But it's not, I wanted to add that it's not always a bigger project. Sometimes it's feature we want to develop. It's not always big. And sometimes it's only 3 people. Currently I lead 1 mission, but I'm not just leading and telling people what to do. I actually also do some work. So it's not like this. And
how big is our mission? This is also a good, how big is a mission usually? It's a good question. Nobody asked, but I did.
Well, 3 to 4 people sometimes, and on the bigger projects,
5 to 6 maybe.
To 6, yeah.
And how big is a tribe? Well, we have figured out that the best size for a tribe is like 15 to 20, but sometimes tribes are even smaller, and sometimes they are rather like a little bigger as well. Although if they grow too big, then we try to split them up. There is a question.
Yeah, from your point of view, what do you see are the benefits of the mission framework, or why do you like it? Do you even like it?
Good question.
Yeah.
So the question is, what are the benefits of the mission framework, and do we like it?
Okay, for me personally, I come from startups, and it's usually like you work a lot, and there's no way for you to, calmly just look on the tasks. So for me personally, mission is good because on the Launchpad I do regular work. There are no deadlines usually, so you don't have to rush. But in the mission you're kind of in startup mode. You have to work quickly. You have to deliver something. And for me personally, I don't like working in startup all the time, but I don't like to be on the regular side also all the time. So I enjoy this. Always be like, if I want to go to mission, I go to mission. If I want to take some time, I'll go to Launchpad. I'll stay on Launchpad for some time. I don't go to mission. And also I want to mention that when you're on the mission, you work only on the mission. So is there any bug, comes from that you actually created sometime in the Launchpad? It doesn't mean that you have to throw everything away and start to work on it. There's no context switch. Someone else will be there to fix that for you.
Not always.
But in our drive, I don't know how you work, guys. We have Marco, we have everything perfectly. And so no context switch for me, and it is also good because I hate it. When all the time you work on some, bigger problem, someone, Angie, there's a bug, you need to fix it right now. Okay, now I'm fixing that, and you forget already what you did before. But it's not like this. In the mission, you like you imagine if you're on the rocket and you go to the space, so you're there, and nothing that on the Earth is actually you.
I don't think it's a black and white system in that sense, but as you described it, it's what's pretty black and white. But nevertheless, definitely these processes are there, or it's working like as you explained. I'm not claiming it doesn't. For me personally, I think it's important that when we have this mission framework ongoing, then you're even shoot and are expecting, and this is how it goes, that you're moving around what you're working on, and people that you're working on are switching, and this is just useful, because otherwise if you work half a year on a same topic, you get stuck on it.
That's a good thing, yeah. Not for me yet, but I understand what you mean.
Let's move on.
Yes.
I have one more question.
Yeah,
Yes.
go on.
The mission framework. Is it actually mandatory to go on a mission, or?
No.
I can stay idle in the launch
Mhm.
pad.
So the question is it mandatory to go on a mission, or can you stay on Launchpad forever?
No, I don't think you can stay on the Launchpad forever, but nobody will gonna force you if you don't want to.
Well, basically there is like some rules around it, but I'm not sure if they are fully deployed. Yes, but I mean the rules are that at some point it makes sense that you go on a mission basically, even though maybe you didn't want to. But I don't think it has ever been anybody has forced to go on a mission.
Yeah.
Probably people have something they want to work on anyways.
One junior in my team currently in the mission, he didn't want to join because he was a bit afraid that he will not he cannot makes any input. But I said no worries, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do something cool. And now when I ask, are you glad that you joined? He said yes, because he's learning so much from this.
So
I kind of forced him, but not like.
But in general, we at first, at least in some sense, engineers are really free to join any mission they want. That's one thing.
Yes.
We actually pitch all the missions.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's actually, to be honest, it's more like we announce them, and maybe there is a free slot for a mission. But it used to be when it all started, like 3 or even more years ago. Then it was mostly that when the pitch of a mission was happening, then we maybe only had the mission lead, but there were like plenty of free places for engineers to join. So we have a weekly event. We still have this event, which is called Pitching Tuesday, where mission leads or the PMs say that, hey, this is one thing we want to work on, and you can apply to those missions and start working on them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're free to do that. Nobody is stopping you.
Yeah, and if you're always interested in something like new, another tribe, you can always try to join.
And that's exactly one of the screenshots that we have here, is that it's a mission tool, our internal tool, which we use to track those missions and where engineers can apply for missions, etc. Actually, this tool contains a lot more. Like, for instance, myself, when I need to plan on something, then I see people's, I have it on the next slide as well, yes. Like when they are vacationing and so forth, and when they have on-call weeks, etc. So you can plan ahead a little. This is not the best example because it only shows like some weeks ahead and nothing there really. But sometimes, you can see it's cluttered.
Do you want to also talk about on-call?
On-call? No. Well, you can talk about it.
I can't. I've never.
Oh, you haven't never?
Yeah.
Well, we have on-call as well, which means that every tribe is responsible for some specific area, and they need to track if it's up or down. So they have alerting on it. We use Grafana for that if it is, good to mention a tool.
Yeah.
And Opsgenie. And then usually weekly there is a rotating role that engineers are on call. Engineers on Launchpad only are on call. You get some paid extra for that.
Yeah.
And then you just need to wake up at night if there is an alert coming in.
And as we mentioned before, we deploy a lot, and this is Racket, where you see all the deployments in all components we have, and in all regions. And always good to track what's happened if the deploy failed. As you see these red boxes, it means something is wrong, so we can go to Jenkins and check what's happened. So it's really good because you always know what's going on, because like already mentioned, we have a lot of components, and you not always do only your tribe components. You need to do another tribe components, and it's always good to see if it's healthy, or maybe some deployment failed. It's not your problem or something.
But in general, we mentioned already before that we make around 120 deploys a day. So Racket is the tool that makes it all possible. It's just another in-house tool that on the background, actually, it's all Jenkins that is doing the deploys, but Racket is the tool where we can observe it, we can aggregate it, but it also has some neat features like delaying deploys to other regions. We have right now the setup that we have one region as the primary region, and then the others are delayed for an hour or so. And you can roll back from here and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, next. Tech stack.
Tech stack.
Do they have any ideas what we use?
I hope that you don't use PHP.
They hope that we don't use PHP,
Oh,
but we do. We do.
We
But
do.
although I can tell you, there is basically, well, there is another one, but basically there is only one service that is written in PHP. So it's not that bad.
yeah.
Although that service is the first one that Pipedrive has, it's basically the one that Pipedrive used to consist of only, like 7 years ago or so. So it is still, even today, a rather important service, but basically we have PHP, like the monolith that we used to be, is actually written in PHP.
Yeah, and we try to move,
Yes.
like split it more, and one day we're gonna remove it.
But mostly what we built today, actually we use JavaScript or TypeScript
Yes, and
on front end and back end as well.
backend on Node, and front end is on React. I know some use Vue.
We have a few Vue services. One of them I know is already rewritten. So basically we used to have
Okay.
at least, but basically React is the de facto standard there. And we also actually support somewhat Golang, so we have a few services in Golang. But nevertheless, I would say like the de facto standard is TypeScript or JavaScript
Mhm.
in general.
And microservices.
Yes, we have microservices. That's a really good buzzword. I mean, if you don't mention microservices today, you're not a really good tech company. But it's, no, it sounds funny, but it's actually true in Pipedrive, we use microservices. As I said, we have one service, which is actually PHP, which used to be the monolith. Can you guess how many microservices we have in live today? The numbers.
Let's say 4.
4. Does anybody want to bet more? I can say it's a little more. 6.
Little bit more.
Six is a good word, like good number, but there is, you need to add something to it. Or you need to multiply with some 12, so 2 times 6. Actually, to be honest, it's 100 times 6. So close enough.
Yeah.
So we have around, well, it's of course growing all the time. Not that it's growing that quickly, but it is growing, of course. We have around 600, over 600 services in live, deployed in live. So it's, of course, a struggle to manage all of them. For instance, if you need to update some of them and so forth. They are written in different versions, etc., etc.
Yeah, different styles.
Different purpose, but mostly still JavaScript, Node, and yeah. You want to add something there?
No.
No. What I was saying is that actually it's a good thing.
Like, it is a good thing. Yeah.
It sounds like a bad thing that you have 600 services, but actually it's a good thing. And why it is a good thing is that if you pick any of those services and you need to work on that service, it most probably will be, manageable. Otherwise, if you had it all put into one monolith, it would be like too hard to, deploy. For instance, the biggest one, which is the PHP service, the problem we have with it from time to time is that it's hard to deploy because it has so many parts in it.
Yeah, and that also why we deploy so much and so oftenly. It's because we have microservices, and it's allowed us to do that.
Exactly.
Too many to run on your computer.
Yeah,
yes, as you said.
But it's an important point because, one of the consequences of 600 microservices is that, of course, you can't run all of them on your computer, and you can't even run 60. I mean, maybe 60 is the maximum number you can get, but even, your computer starts to fly and you're still not showing the picture. So we used to actually have this setup still, like you still just don't spin up all the services. You can spin up maybe 20 to 30, and that gets you already, on something you can work on. You spin up the service you work on, and then that's where what you can do.
Yes.
We also mentioned Kubernetes. That's the orchestrator that we use nowadays.
Yeah.
Docker.
You already said about regions.
We have regions. That's actually important because, for instance, I'm an engineer, and I find Pipedrive as one of the coolest company in Estonia to work with or work for, because we have regions. And why is it important? It's exactly that it's about scaling. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad, but basically if you work for some of the other big companies in Estonia, you most probably only have one region. Like, you don't have many regions, live regions actually, but we do, and all those regions are separated, and we are most probably going to have more and more regions. And why it's 4+1 is because we basically have 4 regions where we keep customers' data, and then there is one region which is called management region, which is for the internal tools and stuff like that.
Yeah. And Testbox and Devbox, I want to show you a picture. Like Mikk previously said, you have like 30, I don't know, services you have to run locally. It already kills your computer. And I personally now use Devbox and Testbox. It's also all on in-house tool. So basically it runs everything magically. Magic happens somewhere, and every service running already. And I just, for example, like marketing UI, I put my branch on or run with Fuse and develop only this one. So I don't need to put anything else on my computer, because otherwise it would be crazy. I had a lot of problems with that, but now it's really easy. And also testing, you set up testing. For example, you do pull request, you need code review, you set up Testbox, you give it a link, and anyone else have to test, because we don't have quality engineers who will test it for you. You have to test it yourself, and whoever does a code review for you, they also need to test it.
Yeah, that's a good fun fact that Pipedrive has no manual testers.
Yes, so you...
4 years already. But yeah, in general, that's really a nice thing that we can be proud of, which is called Testboxes, is that you can spin up your own set of Pipedrive and deploy any service of any branch. Like, usually you have already the default set, so Pipedrive is working. Of course, they are already pre-populated, which means that you can just say that, hey, I want a Testbox, and you have it. And then you can deploy your branch there, which will take not that much time. And this is where it all started, and only I think around half a year ago, we got to the point where we are now able to proxy this thing through your computer, so that you can actually spin up some of the services locally as well.
Yeah.
And do your development on Testbox, basically, meaning that we get the best of both worlds, that you only need to spin up what you actually are developing.
Yeah, it's really good for your computer.
The only bad thing is that you of course have to have internet in order for that to work.
Yes.
A question about Testbox itself. Like, for example, if you want to run the marketing UI, does it like automatically tackle the different services that, like, do they need to work like coherently? Like 20 to 30, if I choose the marketing UI, does the system itself automatically discover the other services that need to be started up?
So the question is, if you need to start up some services, do you know anything about the other services, basically, right?
Yeah.
You kind of do. You see a lot of errors in console log that says what services you are missing. But we also have stacks there. So for example, for me, it is this campaign stack. So when you select this one, it's gonna deploy every service you need for this campaign stack to work. So marketing UI here is already like have all services needed. But if there's no services, then you're gonna get pretty good error messages about that.
Yes, but in general, like the system is built in a way that if you have some service missing, then of course it will fail if anybody wants to access that service. But some parts of the app will still work, and most probably you don't need to work on that. Like, I can tell you just an example that if you work on calendar, you don't maybe need to spin up the deals
Of course.
service
Yeah.
in order to work on the calendar, which is activities in our case.
Yep.
And I don't know if you're finished with the internal tools that you're using, but how many, like percentage-wise, or I don't know if you know the numbers, but how many developers do you have, or engineers that are their task is to develop internal tools that you use in-house?
So how many engineers do we have developing our internal tooling?
I don't know.
We have, do you have VPN connected? We have a separate tribe for that. So, but how many engineers do they exactly have? I guess around 10 I would guess. And of course, it's always like, it's not that only those people are doing it. All the code, that's like one of the features, of course, Pipedrive has. I mean, it's kind of expected for me, but at the same time, it might not be obvious for you, is that you can access any code as an engineer. So if you're just a front-end developer doing anything, if you find a problem in the Testbox UI, you can fix it yourself. You have access to that. And we have some other tribes, which we call like platform tribes, which are mostly working on the core part of the product, which is not exactly the product itself, but the base of it. Then those actually interact a lot with the DevOps tooling tribe, which is the tribe that is building the tools. So it's not that they only do it. For instance, when they run a mission that touches many parts of Pipedrive, then most probably they will actually include some engineers from other tribes as well.
Yep.
Move on.
Struggles.
Oh, it's all revealed already on the screen. Do we have any time left?
Yes.
Oh, we need to fill up all the time somehow. So, what are the struggles for you?
Well, like I said, I'm coming from startup when usually decision like queue it's really short. Like you ask, I know, backend or PM if there any designer or something, and you quickly develop something. In Pipedrive, there's a lot of engineers, and usually when you are on a mission, you have to develop in your component. You also have to develop in someone else's component, and you have to ask those engineers, hey, can we do this to your component? And they have to approve it. They have to speak about it. Also, there's like a lot. And sometimes I get personally annoyed because I used to get things pretty quickly. Now I have to wait. But I think, I don't know, I'm not annoyed that anymore because I still think it's good that there's no other ways to work in that big company. If
there is, I guess. You can always build a company in some other way, but this is the way we have chosen.
No, but if there's so many developers and everyone we're gonna do shit, then
we can still have like a release every quarter or something, and test it out truly, and so lock the version for some time.
No, I mean the communication between the developer. It's not like you're on your own bubble. You have to speak with a lot of different people in a lot of different locations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree that the fact that we have almost 1,000 employees and over 350 engineers, that already tells a lot. So I would say many of the struggles come from the fact that we have so many engineers. At the same time, we want to work on so many things. So it always feels that we still are missing people. It's hard to sync for anybody who wants to sync, but also for anybody who wants to be aware of everything. You just can't be.
Yeah.
And those 350 plus engineers are always producing updates. So that's also a struggle that struggle with deployments, but struggle keeping up with all of it.
Yeah.
So constantly changing.
Yeah. Also, missions sometimes get in conflicts to each other. So you work on something and another mission work kind of on the same component, and you break everything together. Then it sucks. And also sometimes you work hard on something, come with good idea, and someone write you in a code review that, do you know we have already the shared component for that? I'm like, no, I don't. Who did that? And why didn't share?
Yeah, that's definitely, I think that it's really hard to be up to date with everything, and as you just described, it can happen that we duplicate some work, or we do some duplicate work. Yeah.
And development environment, I want to say we don't have like that much struggles anymore. I mean, for me.
Yeah, recently it has become a lot better.
Yeah, with Testbox, but sometimes it takes you like half a day to get the development locally up.
Mm-hmm. But right now with Testbox, it's become a lot
it's not that
more stable,
anymore.
So it's not really a problem. But not long ago, it used to be a problem that you want to develop on something, but it's just hard to get your development environment fully running.
I mean, our tribe, we recently moved everyone to Testbox, and on the retro, the first time in the year I worked, nobody mentioned problem with the development environment.
But
Yeah,
did
which
they-
was a big success.
Did they mention the success? Did they praise somebody?
You
like-
know, they say that nothing happened. It's good
Okay.
enough.
And also on the slide I have mission framework hard to estimate. What I wrote it. Yes, I said it. So what I meant by that is that sometimes I guess we still need to plan ahead. I mean, we do plan ahead, but our mission framework sometimes makes it hard to estimate. So we have some freedom for engineers and even for other parts of the organization. So if we plan ahead, try to plan ahead, for instance, for a year, it's actually pretty hard to do that. You maybe can only plan ahead for a quarter, but after that, you never know what needs to be done or in which situation we are.
Yeah.
Complexity. I guess I wrote it, but maybe you want to talk about it.
Put me in the tank. I think I already mentioned that, like I said, we have a lot of components, and there are different owners of that component. And for example, we have like a big design component, and sometimes you fix there something and wait 2 days for pull request to be reviewed, and you can actually continue with your work, and you ping them, but they are so busy, they have no time for you, and they're understandable. But for you, like, I need to go on. My mission is going, for example. And sometimes it's like really a problem, because you have deadline, they don't have deadline, or maybe they have another deadlines, and to put everything together and actually make it work faster is really
I think
struggle.
it a lot boils down to how many people we have.
Yes,
But
yes.
I agree that sometimes there is this kind of problems and complexity. But I would still say that I think Pipedrive is doing great in that sense that if you come up with an idea that how to reduce this complexity
Yeah.
or make us more efficient, then everybody is welcome, anybody to step up and talk about it and maybe figure it out somehow.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't put it on the slides, but we have a really good feedback culture on everything, and also about how you as an engineer feel, what are your struggles, what's the problems, and usually their problems are addressed, and we work on them. So
Who
it's good.
addresses them? You said usually they are addressed. Who addresses engineers' problems?
Managers?
Oh, maybe.
You're
I
a
don't
bad
know.
manager.
I don't know. I don't know.
I was a good manager.
No, I didn't
so-
want you to tell that.
Okay.
Career path.
Career path.
We have some generic career path put up. It doesn't mean that there is nothing out from this structure happening. I like the knots you have made there. It's kind of unstructured and makes it clear
Because
that
they're kind of connected. It's kind of linear before, but when you go to the
so it's a career path for an engineer typically.
Yes. So when you get to the senior first, you can decide.
Let's start from intern. I mean, you're already on senior. That's too far.
That's more interesting.
I mean, I didn't see
Yeah.
that well.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe I wasn't able to follow the graph.
You talked about nodes, so I wanted to
Okay.
describe. Talk
I-
about interns.
Yeah, I mean, in general, that you start as an intern, then we
Mhm, yeah,
have
good.
juniors, a few levels of juniors. Then most of the work is done by mid-level
Mhm.
developers, what we call them. We have these titles actually set, and there are different not stages but levels
Yes.
from
nice.
each. And then there is multiple levels for seniors as well, and the top level we call principals.
Yes.
And now you can tell about seniors.
Well, first of all, I want to say not everyone. I mean, if you're in the middle, you cannot need to start from intern, obviously. But what I like about Pipedrive is that we have like actual written like rules. What you have to not rules like criteria what you want to meet. It sometimes in the companies you're like, hey, I want a rise or something. I want to become a lead. What should I do? And they're like, I don't know. Do you need more money or something? But but in the Pipedrive it is written, and it's for you personally. It's a goal. You know the goal. You know what you have to do. Or if you don't understand exactly, you talk with manager. Hey, what should I do? Because they have like written down this
And
point.
it's a matrix, which
Yeah.
also means that there are many aspects to it.
Yes.
Which means, for instance, if you have meet 3 person on level meet 3,
Yeah.
multiple persons, it doesn't mean that they, meet exactly the same criteria. It doesn't need to be that. They are different persons. We accept it.
Mhm.
They have different, strengths and
Yeah.
weaknesses. But yeah, it averages out somehow.
Yeah, and like I said, when you reach the senior, you actually can decide, do you want to be lead, so like leading development, or you want to be architect, be a technical engineer and decide how things are done. And you always can switch. So it means if you went to the leadership track and understood that you're too annoyed of people, you can go to technical track, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're already like skilled enough to do that.
I would even stress more here that whatever your title says, it doesn't stop you from doing anything else.
Yeah,
That's more
definitely.
important than
Yeah.
the fact that there are titles.
Yeah, and what I also wanted to mention, I think it's good because personally I like, as you see, I'm a little bit shy maybe. I'm not so people person, so it's good for me that I can actually go to more technical
And still do the people stuff
and still do the people
with the
stuff.
wrong title.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, as for titles, I used to be a backend developer, for instance, but actually I never thought that I am a backend developer, so I did some front end as well, and nobody bothered.
They call me right now, like they make a joke that I'm a full stack because I do some backend. I'm not like doing only front end, and because backend is on the JavaScript, obviously I can do that. No, obviously there's some easy stuff I can do myself, but I never like want to accept the full stack because then I have to go on call. Okay.
So you're avoiding that.
Yeah.
Now you know what's blocking you.
Don't tell anyone.
But I like the graph.
Thank you. Yeah. I started as designer actually,
Mhm.
but I switched quickly to.
She
Front.
made the graph if you didn't realize.
Okay, game time.
Oh, Angelina also wrote the game, but there is a question. Let's ask.
Yes.
Yeah, about the previous slide. I think you didn't mention like how difficult is it actually to move internally inside the company, and is it like fast-paced? Like you told that you can switch if, for example, you're at level 2, you can switch between lead and senior. But how fast is actually the process itself?
Mhm. So how quickly will you raise on this ladder? Actually, you don't raise, you like drop on this ladder.
Yeah.
But
I mean, intern junior to the mid 3 is pretty quick because you jump in direction right away, and we have really good onboarding.
let's
stuff.
start that it depends on big
Okay, yes,
person.
it depends, but most likely, if you are good, if you want to learn, we provide you everything that you need. So if you do good work, then you go to the mid pretty quickly. From the mid, there's not. I mean, it slows down because there's a lot of things going on as a mid because you have more responsibility. You also, for example, have to lead missions. I don't know.
Take on call.
Take on call. Really?
To get the senior.
I-
I guess that's actually one of the
Oh,
prerequisites
shit.
to get the senior.
Okay, I'm ready. And yeah, there's a lot of things you need to do, and also evaluation. How about your level up is more complicated than from junior to mid, for example, because junior to mid is most likely how you deliver, and in the mid is like more like what you do exactly. And
But
so-
yeah, in general, to answer the question, I think like we do evaluations based on the matrix, the magical matrix that we mentioned, which translates to your level basically, and that we do at least, I guess, or can I say at least? Well, like yearly for everybody, which is pretty accurate level because there are like 5 of your peers and other people basically evaluating you somehow. And that gets you your next level basically. Usually the promotions, you can expect to raise maybe 1 or 2 levels per year. So you can do the math. Sometimes, of course, it might be a little more, but you can do the math in general that I guess that's one of the reasons on junior level we only have 3 levels, while on mid we have more. So it's expected that you probably on average go from very low junior to mid probably in a year or two, and to actually reach to senior from there, I think it usually at least takes, I would guess, another 3 years or so. And the senior itself, of course, it depends. Like
Yeah.
as Angelina said, it slows down somewhat. It's expected to slow down, not that you jump 3 levels every year
Yeah.
from senior 1 to senior 4 right away or something like that. Usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm not even sure if it's that important, but the levels we have for engineering is also tied to your pay. So if somebody knows your level, they already know your pay as well, basically.
So we don't hide our
Yeah.
salaries in the company.
Although it's not like fully visible either. I mean, unless you do some research.
Yes, yes.
But you can calculate if you can.
Any more questions about career?
So yeah, to answer the question briefly, I guess usually to get from the lowest to top, at least 5 years, I would say usually. And now I want to talk about the game. Angelina made a game. Actually, it wasn't a game at first, but she made it into a game.
Sorry.
No, it's a good thing. And we also have prizes for the game. And as we have prizes here, then it would be really nice if those people in this class would also play the game. But if actually somebody else will play it very well, then we might be even sending those things out.
So for peeps online, if you get the question, I don't know who we're gonna say us.
So tell us about the game.
Okay, so do you know the game Family Feud or Roosisõjad? Family Feud, yeah. No?
Or in Estonian, it's Roosise sõda.
Yeah.
Roosis. Did I say something wrong? I don't have a TV, sorry.
I don't know. I never watched Estonian.
I heard it's Rooside sõda.
Something like that.
So you have to guess. Basically, we have asked people from Tartu office.
Yes.
We can already ask the questions. So what are the worst properties of an engineer?
Properties
could have.
bad engineer
And then people from Tartu office.
Yeah,
It's
voted.
a scientific Tartu office.
Yes.
Voted and came up with some heat map. And now you have to guess what is the worst property of an engineer they can have, and how we do it exactly. How many prizes are we giving out?
If first 3 places, so if you guess first, second, or third, you get the prize. So this one got most votes.
And if nobody guesses, I get the prize.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I have this X-style wrong answer, but it doesn't mean that there's actually wrong answers. It's just for the fun. So anyone.
But in Rooside sõda, does it work for the time? Like you have to be quick to answer.
Yes.
So do I need to be quick here as well, or?
You don't play.
Oh. So.
Yeah.
Please throw out the bets. What do you think is the worst property an engineer can have, or a property of a bad engineer from Pipedrive from Tartu?
Yes.
There's a better term online, being grumpy.
Being grumpy. Directly not. Maybe.
Oh no.
Actually, it doesn't even make it to the top 8 this time.
Yeah.
But definitely, it actually
Yeah.
is a property of a bad engineer.
Yeah,
Also,
okay.
it's not the property of a bad engineer. It's a property of bad person in general. I have thought of it myself that in general, if you come up with properties of good and bad engineers, then it's a generic life advice. Actually, how to be good or bad. So what else? Good, but unmotivated. We don't have it.
We don't have it.
Do we even have unmotivated people?
No. It's a
Lazy. Lazy. That might be here. Come on. It's not there.
We don't have lazy people probably. We have
I think laziness is actually a good thing.
yes.
If you're an
Sure.
engineer, I mean it,
Actually,
I want to make it sound funny, but I mean it like truly, that if you're a lazy engineer, it's a good thing. You know, make the world a
work
better
hard,
place.
not smart.
Not being detail oriented,
Detail, like,
not paying attention.
so not paying enough attention to the detail. Is there something like that? I think
Maybe 6.
let's open it up. So it's not exactly that, but
It's kind of that. Yeah.
I was thinking 7, but it's fine. So one
No.
of the things is open, that bad engineers has assumptions.
Yes.
Do you want to explain what this means?
I don't know. Wait. I wasn't ready for
Well,
that.
I can explain. So it's a general life advice that don't have assumptions over anybody. So if you expect somebody to do something, then that makes the other person feel bad. And it's especially bad if you do it as an engineer, that, hey, you're a senior, I expect you to do something.
Also, as a front-end engineer, I would say never expect that you know user better than UX engineer or something, because you can assume that user will do this, and trust me, user will not do that. Yes? You first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cluelessness.
cluelessness. How would you rephrase it?
Okay, no, let's see. Not having a clue. Head in the clouds.
But maybe
Maybe.
number 2 makes it. I would say let's take this.
Okay. Yeah, we have second place.
So that counts as a cluelessness, I think so.
Yes, and not asking for help. If you like spend a week of doing something and you get stuck and you don't do anything about it, don't ask help.
I think we should give out the prize right away.
Yes.
Let me do it.
Can you sing a song?
Give me an applause.
Yes.
There are actually 3 guesses from online as well. The first one is, since the results were collected from Dart 2,
Uh-oh.
the main issue is the person is from Tallinn.
Not there.
No.
Maybe some of the topics like still count, but no.
I have 2 more, I will just tell them.
So the first one, maybe somebody didn't see it, or people online actually see the chat. You can see it from there. But it was that the person is from the Tallinn was the guess, but it's not the bad.
Yes, no, we don't like judge people by the location, even
I
though
mean, we do like to do that, but we don't do it.
One other thing that was mentioned here is the person is inaccurate.
Inaccurate. What is meant by that? Like not precise, floundering.
yeah, probably floppy in the coding. But
Maybe 7. Let's open up 7. I think it's good enough for 7. So works hard, not smart.
yes.
Maybe what was what did it say?
Inaccurate.
Inaccurate. It's similar. Like, I mean, at least for me, it is related to working hard, not smart.
Yes. Okay.
Actually, those are really good bets.
Yes.
I'm not sure why we didn't have them here.
I don't know.
Yeah, there.
Maybe they get easily irritated by the work.
Easily what?
Irritated.
Irritated. Ooh. That is definitely,
Have a short fuse in it.
yes, exactly. So that counts for number 3, that they take.
Take discussions personally, and yeah, sometimes if you have idea and someone says, yeah, it's good, but it's not gonna work in our component or something.
I'm not an engineer, by the way.
Yes, you.
Bad logical thinking.
Bad logical thinking was a bet.
No, we don't have it.
How? We don't have bad logical thinking. But I guess it's good assumption still. No,
I mean,
at least it's not here.
yes, but maybe but I'm not sure.
I'm just right now starting to think how they do it in that game in real life, like how they know that quickly that the pet that was given is the right term. It's so hard to understand it.
I don't know.
Magic.
And it's a
The-
special question.
Yeah.
Okay, another one.
I have two from online. One is, I think it's already somewhat covered, but not social.
Not social.
Actually, we have this.
Yes, we do have it, but it's on 5th,
Yeah,
Mm.
almost.
working in isolation. I guess it counts. Let's take one from there.
Short attention lifespan, like getting easily distracted.
So short attention lifespan or getting easily distracted.
Unfocused.
Yeah, like on focus. Yeah, something like that.
Maybe it counts as works hard, not smart, or something like that. But separately, we don't have it.
No, we don't.
But what's the number one? Let's look for the number one now.
Yes.
Another one from online is not accepting your mistakes.
Ooh, can they rephrase it?
Maybe not learn from your mistakes. Yeah.
I think that counts as the number one.
Yes.
So we phrased it as not open for feedback, but this definitely is related. So this is the worst.
But this
Property
is
you
from
can have.
online. Like I understood.
Yes, from
Yeah.
online.
I can deliver the package, don't worry.
Okay, but I
Okay.
will give the package to you then.
Sure.
Sounds like a good deal for
But
me.
yeah, Fred was categorical.
So, wait.
But we still have 4.
We still have a few more,
But I'm
but
gonna open them.
let's
anyway.
open them up.
Yes. So too strict.
Too strict. Let's let's express a little what it is. Let's elaborate.
Yes.
Well, it's always bad if you're too strict.
Yes. and
It could even make you grumpy.
yeah, it actually do, and also mean that you're not open to development. If you used to do something for years, and there's like new technology or new ways
Mhm.
to do that, and someone does that, and you say no, we're doing this like this, like I used to, and please don't make any changes. Then you'll be annoying to developers and bad
I mean, it's
developers.
good to know about best practices there are in development, and developers are really logical persons. So if you can, if there is a best practice, the best practice is
Yeah.
there for a reason. But sometimes those reasons or reasonings, they change over time.
Yes.
And then when you get stuck to some of the best practices, it might, irritate others or not be that best practice anymore,
Yeah.
basically. That's how I can express it. Definitely it counts.
And
That's a bad
also
thing.
maybe if, it is best practice, but at this specific problem is not working. You cannot push it anyway because you know it's the best. It's not the best right now.
Yeah,
for the
definitely. Never start never start your sentences with never. Basically, that you should not ever do that, or
Yeah.
you should always do this or that. There are always occasions where you might want to, be more flexible.
And 8 things are necessary long term.
Things unnecessary long term, not even long and short term balance. So
That's a good.
it's what?
No?
Did you shorten it? Oh no. It's good. So basically, I can explain it. There is always a balance between short term and long term. So in engineering, and that's it. If you think too long term, you just get stuck doing something that doesn't help you tomorrow. Maybe only the day after tomorrow, and maybe only after the day tomorrow.
Yeah, but also if you do some short fix that are gonna be refactored by the next developer, then maybe you shouldn't do that, or think a little bit maybe before doing that.
Cool.
Okay, so property.
The game continues. And the other part is I guess more better,
Yeah, I also think.
because it's the same game but now with different rules. I'm joking. It's the properties of good engineers, so the rules are the same. Did you get the prize already?
No, I haven't. I think it's almost the same as the opposite. A good engineer is going to be flexible, like he's going to be willing to learn, basically.
So
Open to learning and taking corrections. So.
yes, flexible and open to learning. Yes, let's.
You have to decide.
I
You cannot put two.
Open to corrections.
What?
Open to corrections.
Oh, almost. 3.
oh, it's still. That's not 3.
Oh no, we have bug.
But it should be that accepts different opinions. So you were
Yeah.
correct, and it counts as a prize. But
Hmm.
let's see. Maybe there.
Maybe I could.
I will
Okay,
give you the prize.
give the prize.
Thank you.
Maybe I changed the logic. And,
So we didn't test it, as you can see.
yeah.
We don't have
Sorry.
any testers in Pipedrive.
Yes.
My guess would be a good engineer is a team player.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's of course number 1.
Double trouble.
Yes.
I would like to elaborate on this teamwork. Like, why do you think teamwork is even important in engineering?
For me to elaborate,
Yes.
as you mentioned before, like Pipedrive itself is a really big company, and you can't like as an individual, you can't accomplish that much rather than. as a
Cool
team.
point.
Yeah.
You said it all. As people online might not hear you, I will tell you them also what you said. So it all comes down to the fact that you can be the best engineer in the world, but you can't achieve all of it alone. So we have like 300 plus engineers, and that's exactly where it comes from, that teamwork is the most important thing.
Mhm.
Let's take a bet.
Be precise.
What was it?
Be precise.
What do you mean by that?
Precise. That's not just having so many ideas you have as an being precise.
Oh, so yeah, so you're actually working on something that matters.
Narrowing down your ideas.
I think that counts actually. We can actually open it up. It doesn't count as for a prize though. Let's see if it is the right thing.
No. I think I put some together because we have like.
But the thing that
comments from
we should
Tartu.
have opened up was no, I mean does the job. Does the job would have been the correct thing that we wanted to open up.
Yes.
Basically, that I think that counts as the same thing. What else did we open up?
Good balance of self-esteem.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means sometimes you got too worried about something, like you break something, shit happens, no worries, and you don't need to like get stuck in it only because you're worried to break something.
But
You-
what is the balance? I mean, I have a really great self-esteem, so what's wrong with it?
Nothing.
I mean, why does it say good balance? Can you be over?
You can be, of course, you can be like
Overconfident.
Yeah, overconfident. Then you also do mistakes, but you cannot be like too like worried about it.
Fred is back again, and his guess is that a good engineer should be able to adapt well.
So adapting well is a good engineer should be able to adapt well. Was the bet? Do we have something that matches? I think we do have something that matches. We don't
Wait.
have anything that says adapted. So it's really hard for me to do
But
that
maybe
text
with
search.
this one.
And that's also, let's open it up. Let's see what is there. We probably have box there anyways. You know.
No, I mean, yeah. I have this list is wrong, not this one.
Oh, this is correct. and
This is correct. This is not.
Ah, did we give out the wrong price then?
No, we did open, but it says like
So maybe that counts, yeah, that not restricted by the role. So basically, as it said, I guess it doesn't need an explanation. It could be front and back end, but in Pipedrive, we talked about, for instance, the mission framework. And it is mostly engineers defining the framework. Or we talked about the promotions. Who do you think were the people coming up with the process for promotions? And they're still evolving that process. It's still engineers, so
Yes.
they are not, affected by the role, basically. Did you raise your hand first?
Yeah, I have Mikko's.
You can fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
And take it on like 1 or 2.
Okay.
But Mikkel has a bet that gives feedback and asks for help.
Gives feedback and asks for help.
There's an or in between.
Or. He's smart, like or.
Yes,
Either one
yeah.
can be true,
No,
and he still gets the
you
prize.
can choose one. You can choose one.
Like he wrote down to both of these options like separately.
Okay, I get it.
No, I think.
We don't. What does it exactly? Gives feedback and
Or ask for help.
ask for help. We don't have the
We have
exactly like.
This one, but
You don't want to give up the answers, like you were already saying.
No.
But do we have something that matches? Let's find out that first. I would
I
say
can't open the code, otherwise they will see.
I don't think we have anything in the list, but it definitely counts as something good.
Yes.
Let's take that question.
Is interested and has a goal in mind.
Probably.
Interested and has a goal in mind. Interested. What does that mean?
What does it?
Passion.
I think it happens in the real game as well, that somebody says passion and they say, oh, like eager to learn or something. So we will give you a prize because we have.
That's cool. And I also opened fourth and fifth. Fourth is accept different opinions.
You want to elaborate on this?
Now I feel.
Who
like
said it?
Yeah, I think someone said that, something like that.
Accept different opinions. Why should I accept different opinions?
Because you cannot be always right, and sometimes there's like I said, there's a lot of things in the lab.
I mean, I'm an engineer. I can logically think that I can be always right. What's wrong with that statement? I can be, possibly.
No, because it's not. Because you are kind of still in your own bubble on your own product, and when someone else comments something and gives you feedback, you should like understand that okay, it's not gonna work this way.
Yeah. Well, actually, of course, it definitely counts. And what's the last one?
That one is boogie one. It's me.
Oh, it's like the opposite of what we had on the bad side.
Yes, balance between long and short term. Like, but you already explained that.
Yeah, I did. So I shouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
What time is it? Oh, we are pretty good on time. Like, I mean, it's actually good that we are not overtime, but we still have some time left for the questions.
I already have no.
Anyways, shall we take the questions, or you want to show the QR codes now?
I want to talk about
Okay.
internet.
Cool.
So
No questions. No, I was joking. No, you can still ask questions, but about internship.
Yes. So we're gonna have internship in Tallinn, and it's really interesting because we're not exactly looking for developers or like engineering background. We're looking for someone who wants to switch. We feel like always got excited about IT, but never like.
How many
Good
people
try.
are we taking?
10.
Is it going to be only Tallinn? Because I know
Yes,
Mikaela
only
is from Tartu.
Mikhail is from Tartu.
How will it happen actually? He's in Tartu and then people are in Tallinn, or what?
Yes.
Okay, so it's in Tallinn.
It's in Tallinn, yes. And it's going to be 3 month paid internship.
Somewhere in the summer.
someone in the summer. Yeah, 3 months.
And we have a form for that if you want to
Yes.
apply.
If you want to apply, I mean, it's not application right now. It's just that show your interest and subscribe for updates. Yes.
Mikko has a question about internship.
Cool
Uh,
question.
Is internship at Pipedrive hands-on real-life work and real problems, or just watching and drinking coffee?
So is it real life work, the
Yes.
internship, or
So we,
good question by the way.
yes, we're gonna teach you about front end and back end from zero to hero, you know, and first 2 months, and it's gonna be full time. And last month is gonna be actual project, so you're probably gonna work with some tribe to do something like real.
I would imagine that it's vice versa, that you learn 1 month and then you do 2 months of something useful.
Mike said it's not so strict right now, but currently in his head it's 2 months learning and practice. But it's not also not going to be learning like, you know, you're going to sit in class or some, I don't know.
We don't have a class.
Yes, or some meeting room and just listen and listen and listen and then go take coffee and listen and listen. No, you're still going to have a lot of practical exercises.
Will it happen in the office? Most
I
probably.
think so.
So we have a cool office actually, the
Yes.
tower that we talked about. You can have coffee.
Yes.
The question
For
was,
yourself, not for anyone else. Is there? Yes.
Do you have to have any like background knowledge or how does that work if you're not really into IT?
Do you need to have any background knowledge about IT or programming in general?
Yeah.
No, you just need to have like, I don't know,
Willingness.
willingness to learn it and be passionate about like, yeah, I want to do that.
And it somewhat helps if you're, you know, good at some of the maths or some stuff. I'm not saying that it's based on math. What I'm saying is it's good if your logic kind of works in a good way.
Yeah.
Then you're always a good candidate for something that is an engineering.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean if you're like.
Yeah, if you're bad at logic, then you should still apply.
Yeah, still try. I mean, and.
No more questions. You
No.
wanted to say something else about it?
I only thing I want to say it's Pipedrive is cool and you should try it because if you there's not so much companies that are allowed to learn from zero IT.
That is one question.
Mikkel added a little addition to his question about the internship. We skip to the coffee part, and then it comes. And are you looking for HR people?
Are you looking for HR people
As interns?
as interns?
No.
The internship is still about engineering. So if you're an HR person right now and you want to become an engineer, then definitely apply
Yes.
or show interest. Yeah.
Do you have some suggestions on how to like stick out from the crowd or like get the
So any suggestions how to stick out from the crowd that is applying? So right now you're basically just showing interest.
Yeah,
I guess
sure,
there will
yeah.
be some other rounds, contacted to you, and then you can show even more interest. But basically to stick out from the crowd, I would say that write a little longer and more meaningful, but at the same time not too long.
Or do some video, for example. It's always funnier, like
Yeah.
better
If-
to watch.
Basically, if you put some more effort into,
Yeah, in the application.
showing the
then
interest, then
they'll
definitely.
see that you actually want to, like, get that. Yes.
Since Mikkel's battery is dying, he wanted to thank you for an interesting seminar, and I think his battery has died as we speak.
Without any question.
Quickly, thank you, Mikkel. Thank you, Mikkel.
Thank you,
for
Mikkel,
questioning and
whose
guessing.
battery died. He didn't get any. The
Yeah, he did.
No, that was another guy, wasn't it?
Fred.
That was Fred. So
Oh.
Mikkel's battery died, but he didn't get any prize. But thanks for the questions and bets anyway.
So he dead for nothing. Oh, okay.
I think if he gets an HR internship at some point, he will be more than happy.
Cool. But let's move to the next topic
Yes.
or next slide.
Junior.
So if you feel that you are an engineer or you're studying as an engineer already, then definitely you should apply as a junior.
Yes, and also if you are higher, you can apply as a junior higher, but maybe not from this form, but because it's about engineering. Or maybe they can choose.
You mean, yeah, in the form. Actually, you can choose, I think, yeah.
Then it's cool. Then can you?
Yeah, I scanned it.
Yes,
Mhm.
but do you have like check what you
Yeah.
filled into?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can actually check for what you apply.
Okay.
But we are interested about engineers.
yes, we are, but
Yeah,
still.
Pipedrive is actually interested in other positions as well, or hiring people for other positions.
Yeah.
So definitely apply. I mean, it's pretty clear that when you should you join up Pipedrive, it's clear that if you're not, haven't worked on that area too much, then it makes clear that you don't join as a senior already.
Mm-hmm.
But well, that's exactly why these kinds of companies are for. You can easily grow there.
Yeah.
That is a question.
I have a question. What kind of other departments other than engineering do you have? I'm not looking for an internship
Mhm.
right now, I'm just asking.
What kind of other departments do we have to apply for? We have all of it.
Yes, everything you want to.
We have
Data
marketing.
researchers,
Researchers, analysts,
designers.
designers, product people, like product managers, how we call them usually. So basically, you have to, think about the product. We also have, all sorts of other people like HR, recruiters, support, lots of support actually. I mean, I don't know the numbers. I know that we have 350 engineers, but I guess for support we have around 200, 300 in total. So it's also pretty huge number of people. Legal persons, we have all sorts of people.
Yeah.
If you open up the link, then actually you can see like the departments, but even the departments probably doesn't tell the whole picture.
Yeah.
We have
Sure.
coaches. So
Coaches,
if
yeah.
you have learned technology, somebody mentioned also the people partner.
Yeah.
People partners also actually are psychologists.
Yes.
Is that the word?
Yes, it is.
Okay. It was so hard to pronounce that I was
Yeah.
correct. Sure that I'm correct. So I guess we are actually searching for those people as well, because I know one of those left
Yeah.
recently.
And also, I want to say that the most important thing, it's not even the skill set right now, but the cultural fit to our
Mhm.
company. So we're looking for open people who is willing to learn, who are team players, and who are, know how to have fun.
Yes. That's the reason. You have to play table tennis.
Yes, at least. Or tennis player. If you're a tennis player, then I'm gonna say Mike to select this person.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on.
And Insta, of course, follow us. On
I don't
Instagram.
have Instagram.
Are you old?
Yes.
Boomer.
But I would follow.
Yes, and you'll see a lot of interesting posts about our company in general, and also from, as you see, we have highlights of the offices, so you can kind of sneak in what happens in the office. And
That's it.
yes,
I think we are on time.
Yes,
If there are any
perfectly.
other questions, we can still take one question or two.
I have one last question from Ashley. I think it's a good way to end the presentation as well. But in your opinion, what is the future of Pipedrive from your perspective?
Wow, such a good question for the end. So what is the future of Pipedrive from your perspective or from your opinion? Would you like to answer?
I think we're gonna expand much more, and not like in the people side, but also as a product. We're gonna be like huge, like everything in one package. Maybe, not maybe Microsoft level.
Conquer
but,
the world.
but still, why not? I mean, I would love to be like next Google, but who knows?
Well, it takes some time to grow to the Google scale,
Yeah.
I guess. But definitely, I agree that I think Pipedrive is going to grow. We have grown already that
Mhm.
much. In Estonia, I guess we are kind of a big company and established. But if we compare ourselves to some of the competitors, we are still not that big at all. So definitely, we will grow even bigger.
And also good that some companies have like product and there's nothing to add anymore. It's not about Pipedrive. We still have a lot of things to add, so there's going to be a lot of work. for
Yes.
us.
But I agree that, one of the claims we get a lot is that we have many people and even more people joining us. So we'll be turning into a corporate. And I can't deny that, of course, it's slowly moving to that direction. But
Yeah.
I think Pipedrive will be one of those companies which will restrict or resist becoming a corporate where nobody actually wants to work on.
Yeah.
that well, or we will still have this Pipedrive mindset,
Yes.
which is partially like startup-ish.
Yes. And it's also really important for us. I think we're not going to allow this to happen.
And from an engineering perspective, I can tell that there are so many challenges. For instance, myself, as I said before, I wouldn't want to work like in many other companies, at least in Estonia, because there are no such big challenges. So if you're thinking of joining as an engineer, actually, I truly believe it's one of the best companies in Estonia, at least to work for, because of those challenges that we have in databases. It's basically about scaling. Let's put it this way.
Yes, there's a lot to do.
I hope it answers the question. But thank you.
Thank you very much.
But before you go,
Oh, there is a prize.